And credibility and visibility drives revenue. Okay? So the beauty of a blog is when people start to comment on it, they're showing that they're interested in your business. Can you see how that's true? So you have potential opportunities with customers there in developing that relationship. Same is true on YouTube. And then there's ways to create true passive income. I love it when I wake up and I look at my Google stuff and I made $20, $30 through Google Ads on my YouTube account. So there's things to do with that as well, which we'll talk about. Okay? So why do you want to do this? Because with at least these two things from a social media standpoint, you can also feed them to the big channels. Right? So if I do nothing else, and those of you who know me know I don't agree with this, you don't want to just do this and leave it alone. But at least with my blog and my YouTube, I can feed it to my Twitter account, which gets me more visibility. I can feed it to Facebook, which gets me more visibility. And I can feed it to my LinkedIn account. All right? So I have automatic data without even having to think about it. I have content I can post on those sites if I just do the video and just do the blogging. You don't have to do anything else. Okay? So ultimately, blogging's the key to be able to start and be successful for yourself. So writing on your blog, and why is the writing important? Because it creates credibility. When you can write about what you know, you gain credibility. Would you guys agree with that? Absolutely. So the more you write about what you know, the more credibility you have. You also build authority when you write. Okay? So the more you write, the more authority you have. The more you speak in video, the more authority you have. Even if you're your authentic self, that's really important. My favorite success story with video is in the room today, and that's Jen Duchesne. If you guys don't know, and she's a graduate of my program, and when she stepped up and started doing those videos, she's a perfect example of somebody who is very raw and authentic, and they just keep getting better and better and better. But she did not put the first one up. You put it up, didn't you? Absolutely. And even that first one gets exposure. So I admire, she's hiding there, yeah. I admire that because she was able to do that to build her authority. And it's working. I mean, people walked in and said, I've watched what Jen does online, and she's doing such a great job, and I love her videos, and I love her posts. That's what it's about. You're building that for you. And ultimately, what you're doing with writing is you're creating connection. Can you see how that's true? Somebody might read your blog that won't hire you, but they know somebody who will hire you. And I think that's really important because that's what networking is about to me, right? When I come here and network, I don't come here thinking, will you buy from me or not? I come here to make connection because you might not be the person who buys from me, but you knew somebody who will. And that's what networking is really about, right? Absolutely. So your blog and writing does the same thing. It creates those connections. I mean, the blogging community is an amazing one in terms of how they support each other, how they refer to each other, how they help each other out, how they find resources for each other. It's powerful when you get involved in it. All right? So, just remember, video creates it faster than your writing can. So writing will create authority, credibility, and connection, but video does it faster. Why?
Short attention spans.
Say it again?
Short attention
spans, number one, so you can do 2-3 minute video. People can also multitask video. They can listen and go off and do something else, right? Google loves YouTube. Huh? Google owns YouTube. But more people now are using YouTube to research how-tos than they are Google. Most people don't know that. Why else?
More than 1 cent.
It's more than 1 cents. Absolutely, right? You only get the written word when you write. When you get to see people's face and hear their tone, you increase trust and credibility faster. Yeah. So there's real power in that, right?
It's a real connection.
It's,
you feel like you know the person.
yeah. Creates real connection. You feel like you get to know the person. So video does it way faster than your writing ever will do, okay? Even creative writers that are great writers, even if they switch that to video, they will expand how quickly they build a customer base because they go to video over it. All right? So switch to the video for me. Engagement is ultimately the key, and blogging creates engagement. I'll talk about comments as well today. If you're not creating an opportunity for people to comment easily on your blog, you're really missing the opportunity for them to engage with you. Don't be afraid of somebody who disagrees with what you wrote. Why? It's engagement. It's a discussion, right? It creates that discussion. You also have the power to take off something that's inappropriate. And that's the flip side. If you moderate everything first, though, you don't reinforce bloggers wanting to come and comment on your blog. Because there's nothing more depressing than you write up something that you really thought about, and then you get waiting a moderation. Who agrees with me on that one? Right? And you try to go back and see if it says it or not, and then you're frustrated because you never see your post, and you don't know when they're going to moderate. Don't moderate. Let people engage with you on there. That's where you really create the community and the opportunity. All right?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Sure.
The reason I have moderation on my blog is because I get a ton of spam.
Then you have sucky spam stuff. And Jerry, you're going to talk about making sure they filter their spam really well.
I wish I had time to talk about all that.
Ultimately, you need a better commenting system that has better spam filters. My spam is less than 1% on my blog. And that's ultimately what it is what are you doing to make sure you have the right filters to filter that crap out, right? And I'm in social media, so trust me, if somebody wants to spam a blog right now, they pick somebody like me because they've got their stupid affiliate link to Webmaster Plus, right? Contest Burner Plus, whatever they want to do, they're spamming me with it. So all that stuff filters out for me, all right? Okay, it's time. Because I can see some of you are like, oh shit, she doesn't want me to just write, she wants me to also video. Say it again?
Where are your cameras?
Well, my camera's going right now so I can upload to YouTube later. Thank you, Jeannie Shea. My flip camera is the best $150 investment I made. I love that thing. It's easy to upload. It's got a great microphone on it, directional microphone. Piece of cake. And it's got a flat bottom, so I don't need a tripod. I can set it on anything. So that's why I love it, okay? It's a flip camera. It's called The Flip. That's the brand. So here's the 3 tips for you, okay, for your blogging. First, keep the creativity in your writing, not your title. Remember what I said, Google likes it when you go deep. The first next level of depth is the title, because the title, if you've set up your blog correctly, becomes a unique URL. And if it's keyworded right, the title is keyworded right, that helps you in the search engines, which Sherry is going to talk some about that, I believe. We talked about that, no? Titles and keywords? Keywords, okay. Right? So this is important. People want to write these snazzy, creative titles. No, write keyword titles. Be creative in the writing, okay? Really, really important there. So they're apples and oranges for me. There's places where you have to be smart about your SEO, and there's places where you can be creative. And your title is not the place to be creative. Couple tips about this. You want your title to be keyworded in the front of it, not in the end, because Google only indexes 65 characters. So there's a tip for you. Also, Google loves lists. 3 tips, 6 things. Lists are great titles. All right? Second, use keywords all the time in titles, categories, and anchor text. This is how you start to get what I call link love. All right? You need to know your keywords, and if you don't need to know your keywords, I gave you a place to go look for them. You have the URL on that handout. To start looking at your keywords and what they really are. Because trust me, what you think they might be searching for is not what they're searching for. So you want to go into this keyword tracker and you want to look up the words that you think and see how they really come out based on what they're looking up. All right? Most people think that people search social media. They don't. They search other things. All right? So it's interesting to look at that and get that. Here's the other thing. Your category creates a deeper link. Most blogs I go to are in uncategorized. Show of hands. How many of you have ever searched for uncategorized on Google? Every day, huh, Betty? Another question for you, though. How many of you have ever searched for click here on Google? Right? How many of you have seen people do that in their blog, though? Click here, right? More here. Those those aren't words that you want to use. You want to use your keywords there, because the more times you use your keywords, what are you telling the search engine? You're telling the search engine you're the place to go for that information. Okay? So keep your keywords going for you. You want to use them all the time in this process, okay? And here's the cool thing about this. Your blog and Twitter, most people don't realize this, are very keyword friendly for organic SEO. So the more keywords you use in your blog, the more keywords you use when you tweet, the more chances you have coming up in those searches for them. All right? So here's what I tell my clients. They get to pick 5 keywords that become categories, and I just want them to use those 5. Force themselves to write into those 5 categories. Write the blog, and then make it fit into one of those 5 categories. Right? Because over a year, if you write 50 blog posts and 25 of them are in one category, see what you're doing? You're building to the search engines, oh, this person writes about this all the time. This person writes about this all the time. Same is true on Twitter. The more you use that keyword again on Twitter, okay? So keep those keywords going. They're very search engine friendly. Third, when you write a blog or do a video, keep it short. Short is sweet, okay? I tell my clients you want to be between 250 and 400 words on a blog post. How many of you have gotten to blogs that you have to scroll to read, and you have to scroll to read, and you have to scroll to read? And then you go, okay, later, and you leave the window open, right? When does later come?
And then 2 days later,
Why did I open that? Yeah, and then your Firefox or IE crashes, and you say, forget it, I'll just start over.
you just accidentally shut it down.
Right, you shut it down accidentally, it's gone. If you make it too long, people don't read it. If you keep it short and sweet, number one, they're more likely to read the data, which means they'll share it with others, and they're more likely to take the time to comment. If it's too long, they're tired, okay? So here's another suggestion for you. If you can write 1,000 words on something, you actually have a 4-part blog. And then you get creative because you would tease them at the end and you say, come back on Wednesday for part 2 on, right? So you can break it down into sections and get more value out of it if it's longer, all right? Keep it short though. Think Little Pink Spoons. Where does that come from? Baskin Robbins, right? Somebody said it. Baskin Robbins, when you go in for ice cream, they always say, do you want a taste? Why do they want to give you a taste? They want you to buy more. You came in for 1 scoop of Rocky Road because you can't buy vanilla anymore. I don't know if you guys know that. They took Vanilla Bean off the Baskin. Yeah, it was retired this year. You get your Rocky Road, but then they have you try Mocha Java Fudge. And you're like, that's good. So you get 1 of each. You only came in for 1 scoop, but you go away for 2, right? So you want to be able to do this for yourself and keep them coming back. Don't give them all the stuff in one blog. And that's what too many people, I think, are trying to do. You're trying to give them all the answers in one blog. You also only want to give them little pink spoons. And this is really top secret. Are you ready? Because you want them to buy. Right? If you give them all of it in the blog, they have no reason to buy you. Right? Give them enough that makes them go, dang, she's good. I want more of that ice cream. Okay? So give them little pink spoons. Okay, increase your traffic to your blog site by using the social network sites. Feed them there. All right? And encourage comments. More comments, more links, more SEO. All right? How do you encourage comments? First of all, at the end of every post, put a call to action. Ask them what they think. If it's a controversial blog, say, do you disagree? Why? Let them disagree with you. Because you get to come back and share in a very professional way why you believe what you believe, which gives people more opportunity to read about what you're an authority on, more reason to want to buy from you. All right? So let them comment. Ask them what they think. Ask for their experience with what you're writing about. Have you ever had this experience, right? My persistence blog, I said, where do you need to be more persistent in your life? The things people write are amazing, right? Which also inspires more people to come back to the blog. So you want to put more comments and more links and more SEO. The other thing that starts to happen then is they're talking about your blog. So then somebody goes onto Facebook and said, "Oh, I read Ann Evanston's blog today. You should check it out." Somebody goes on to Twitter and says, "I just read Ann Evanston's blog," right? Get them talking about what you write about.